Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Wednesday and you know what that means. That's actually a phrase that somebody I watch on TV says a lot these days, but it's another Shiny Developer Series live stream. My name is Eric and it's been a busy day, to say the least. I hope you're all doing well. Let's bring in the chat. I think we have at least a couple of people around, so hello Unicorn Coder, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. It's great to have you on board. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind about ever since my last stream. It's been a bit busy. Having a lot to do with what I was a part of this morning, which will be a big focus. But first, I do want to send a very special thanks. I just got notified about, looks like a couple hours ago, that we now have a new subscriber, so that brings the account to 3. Lisa De Bruyne. I never said your name out loud, but she's been doing a lot of great streaming herself on Shiny development for her teaching, and so she and I have been in a lot of the chats together, sharing notes, and we were watching Jesse's stream earlier today, and we both kind of had the same trains of thought on ways that Jessie could supercharge her Palmer Penguin app. So it's always cool to talk shop. I will note that I've had a couple hardware upgrades recently. I think they're working well, but you may notice one right away. The bulky headphones are gone. Well, they're still here in the room, but I got some nice little earbuds now that don't feel like such a huge weight on my head when I'm doing this. And special credit to my friends on Wimpy's World Linux Discord for recommending some cool new earbuds. And yep, hello Tan, hello Axel, welcome back. So today we are going to kind of recap something I talked about in a webinar this morning. In fact, I'll start sharing the good old desktop here. Things are working. So earlier today, let me see if I have the tweet out. I know I retweeted it earlier. Yeah, this was it here. So I got invited to this about a few weeks ago. And the host of this was Brian O'Neill, who runs his own company designing for analytics. But he invited myself and David Grandjean and someone else, that Fernando Cagua, that couldn't make it live, but they had shared some content to talk about Shiny user interface and user experience kind of tips and overall kind of advice. And at first I didn't know what I was going to talk about. Like, he kind of, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, we just didn't really know for a little bit. And I got an email saying that, yeah, we'd like to have each of you bring an app that you'd like to demonstrate to all of us. And Brian's goal was to not look at it beforehand and to give us kind of candid feedback alongside Nick Strayer, who was on the Shiny team at our studio. So he was they were kind of the co-host for this. So last week we had a stream where I was trying to decide what to work on, and all of you friendly folks in the chat weighed in on doing shinyLEGO. And that's where I saw that it was not really in the best of shape for that kind of discussion. So the mad dash was on to make some refinements, and oh boy, I fell into some traps last night and the night before. I tried to tell myself not to do it, but I couldn't resist. So there was some refactoring happening, both on the UI and the back end. I tried to stop myself, but I just couldn't. But I feel like I'm not alone in that. I think anybody that sees these issues can sometimes relate to that's going to nag me for a while unless I fix it. And last night was definitely one of those nights. So, without any further delay, let's look at kind of what I showed in the webinar, but then we're going to go behind the app tonight, since it's my stream. I call the shots. So this is the new version of shinyLEGO. This has a long history. I talked about it a little bit last week, but this was my first ever submission to the Shiny contest in 2019, because it was around that time that Ryan Timp, who's now a data scientist at LEGO, but at the time he was either doing a different job or looking for work. He had created a set of R scripts to turn an image, any JPEG, PNG, whatever, and convert it into something called a LEGO mosaic that you could actually, if you wanted to, find the right parts or the right blocks and build it yourself. So I thought, well, the scripts are great, you know, that you can definitely source them and get it all in your R session, but I thought this is the perfect opportunity for a Shiny app. And it just so happened the Shiny contest was launching, so I'm like, dang it, I'm going to get it done. And I remember, obviously I was still working in my day job back then, this wasn't that long ago, so it was many nights I would carve in an hour or two just kind of plugging away at things, prototyping things, and it wasn't until like maybe an hour before the deadline hit that I finally got it submitted. I went right to the wire, and it won a runner-up award, which was very cool. I did not expect to win anything from it because this was the first, I would say, major app I shared in the public domain. Everything else I've done has been under, you might say, very heavy secure vault doors of my job, and I can't really share that. In fact, that even came up in a meeting this morning when we were talking about building in the mindset of open source some of the tooling we're working on for an analysis. And my colleague Will Landau, author of Targets, and who is absolutely brilliant, we could go all day about how brilliant he is, he had mentioned, you know, there are some things we can't share, like the biggest app in my history that I made at the company that I would so dearly love to share. It encompasses everything I've learned about Shiny since its beginning in one place. But can't do it. So I'm treating shinyLEGO alongside a couple others. Perhaps Shiny Cal gets to this down the road, or I come up with a brand new idea. But shinyLEGO is got potential to show a lot of these techniques, and frankly, for me to learn more too. So it was great that it ended up winning a runner-up and just getting some notice. And I actually ran into Ryan at our Studio Conf, I believe it was 2020, the last one in person, and he gave a talk about some of the cool data science projects he works on in his spare time. And I remember going up to him afterwards, and I was ecstatic to meet him because he literally made this possible. There was no way I could have come up with all that code to process the image and build the bricks, and you'll see a little bit here. I was just kind of starstruck a little bit. I was like, hey, I really enjoyed your work. I really enjoyed making the app, and I would really like to collaborate, especially if you're going to extend your scripts. I'd love to fold those in to shinyLEGO. And he said, yeah, I'm actually working on making a package out of it. And he has. So before we get into shinyLEGO, let me show you a little bit about that package. It's called BrickR. Right here, I'll give you all the link in the GitHub repo here. Now, BrickR, I'll say right off the bat, does way more than what my app does. Mainly, one of the nuggets I want to crack is 3D. 3D in Shiny has not been easy. I had my hand in it, tried it before. In fact, I'm not the only one that tried it. Apparently, Jacqueline Nolis, who's now one of the more famous and brilliant data scientists in the R and Python communities. She had even looked at my prototype app and asked how was I doing it. She had some questions and we were going back and forth. We haven't cracked that nugget yet, but that is maybe in the future. But BrickR is a fantastic package as it is. He's got a nice website for it and nice articles about creating mosaics with BrickR, and that's what my app does. So we'll maybe go back to this a little bit. Let's show shinyLEGO in action for those that haven't seen it. Obviously, we haven't seen the updates I made recently. So let me resize this a little bit. Sorry. By the way, for those curious, I did actually try to share my OBS feed in the presentation today. But the software Crowdcast does not like virtual cameras from OBS, so I couldn't do all my slick overlays, but you know, it was still fun. First thing I did that's new, a new feature, is I wanted to have easily accessible documentation within the app, and I wrote a custom module that renders markdown files by dynamically based on the tab selected. If I click this welcome one, it's just going to basically repeat what the GitHub README has, but just in the app itself. But then, watch what happens when I go to the create. It automatically changes to create guide. Throw this in there, and now it walks through how to use this part of the interface. We can definitely look at the code behind this if you're all interested. It's really not that difficult, but boy, this really helps my day job stuff. So that was a nice enhancement I made last night. But let's look at how you create a mosaic. You browse to your computer. Should have some my favorite video game character in here somewhere. I thought I did anyway. Oh, I didn't copy them in, did I? Oh, no, I did. Okay. Of course we're going to do Mega Man. And once that loads, let's move this out. Then you see the customizations you can make, which are basically each of these parameters is part of the functions that Ryan has in his package. There's like a couple of them in particular, but it just kind of brings them all in one place. Like the plate width, which is what you're going to put the bricks on, the brightness, etc. But there's a piece missing here that I'm kind of bugged about that I might try to solve tonight. But let's just stick with the defaults for now, and then we can get rid of this. We're done with this. We can minimize this. Let's create. This is new, so the latest version of BS4 Dash has custom alerts you can pop up without another package needed. I had a little loading thing there you saw, and now the mosaic is here. Obviously with pixel art it's quite easy to make mosaics, but then now what you see revealed are the metrics of the types of bricks required. So you're about to hear kind of my critique of my own stuff here. I'm not happy with how small the font size is in these little info boxes. I feel like it should be easy to customize it. But there's no like default parameter for it, so that's something I do want to shore up at some point, but it was good enough for today. And then you notice here there was only 3 tabs before, but now there's 4. And this new tab is called instructions, not the instructions of using the app. These are the instructions of actually creating the mosaic in the spirit of Lego collections you might have bought when you were a kid or parents bought for you. You can create your own instructions where you can define the number of steps you want in the whole process. So it defaults to 6. Maybe I go to 10 here. And then we have 2 kind of boxes here. I'll minimize this for a second. The first one shows you a rendered kind of image of like the types of bricks that you need for that step. And then the other one is like imagining you have the plate and putting the bricks on the plate. So you get the diagram. You can also get a table of like the size, number of bricks required per size. And now, new as of last night, we can maximize this, and now we get the full real estate. Again, niceties that the latest versions of BS4- have, but this also played a huge role in my refactoring mini nightmare last night, but I kind of brought it upon myself. You probably know where I'm going with it after I finish this. So yeah, the full screen works for both the diagram and the table. Obviously, the plot could use a little more customization, but that's all doable. And then the instructions, where, like I said, this has like what the mosaic is going to look like at each step. So if we change this step to go to maybe step 4, you notice also I'm showing the number of bricks required at each step via shinyWidgets, which again, shinyWidgets is one of my favorite UI packages. We can select that. Now we've got the steps happening here. And we can go further all the way to 10, and then you'll get your finished product. I'll have to check the math around that. Something seemed kind of off there. That seemed kind of low, but no, actually, seems like it's... Yeah, there's something off with the math there. I have to re-implement that, but the idea is there. So this is pretty solid. I mean, definitely seemed to be... It seemed like the audience and Brian liked and Nick liked it this morning, so I'm glad I chose it. I'm glad you all helped me choose it. And it kind of lit a little mini fire under me to take this to a much more sophisticated level. And first, implement some more tricks I've learned from a UX perspective. Second, really take the whole instruction building to be even more authentic to some of the actual software that's out there that people use to create custom Lego instructions. Like, there's a whole industry around this. It's kind of fascinating that we could probably plug into this app down the road. That I did investigations a few years ago. It's not going to be easy, but I have seen some Python libraries that kind of bind with some of this other software. So if Python can do it, then definitely R can do it. And it's just a matter of getting that shorn up. So yeah, I'm going to catch up on the chat here. So Shiny 3D, yeah, Tan, that would be... I mean, it's one of those just kind of challenges I just feel like cracking at some point. But even the author of Ray Shader, Ray Render, oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name already. He's very famous in the community now. Oh, that's gonna... I have to look him up. I'm showing my lack of sleep last night. Tyler, that's it. Yeah, thank you, Tan. Tyler Morganhall. I met him at our Studio Conf last time around. I didn't get a chance to talk to him very deep about it, but I did mention that I was interested in pursuing this, and he said that it is a challenge because of the processing and graphics processing that's needed to create these 3D images and render it via RGL. I feel I got about halfway there a couple years ago. I do want to see that through. I feel like it is solvable, but it's going to take a lot of my other Linux chops, if you will, to address it. Oh, let's see what Bruno Simon. Oh, 3JS. Okay, I may know what you're talking about, but let's bring that up to we all can look at. Thanks, Tan, for sending that. A nice little loading thing here. What is this? Oh my gosh. This is slick. Oh my. Yeah. Ooh, I'm definitely not racing tonight, but I'm moving a car around. It's pretty fluid. I mean, looks like maybe 30 FPS, but I mean, that's pretty solid. But yeah, Unicorn Coder, that's kind of what I was getting at earlier, is that RGL is kind of brittle, especially in the context of Shiny. So if we can find other packages to augment what Ryan and Tyler have done, I feel like that's a game changer, because I did actually see Tyler's. Well, that was a different talk. Sorry, I was getting confused with another JavaScript framework that had Joe Chang like so excited. He was giddy about it. It was a different widget by Ryan Fanf. I forgot his name already, but that's a different thing. Yeah, but Ryan, I mean Tyler, gave a 2020 talk, and I remember Joe and Hadley and everyone was just amazed by what Ray Shader could do. So there's an appetite for it. Everybody loves cool graphics, and I don't really feel shinyLEGO is complete unless I crack this nugget somehow. So yeah, that would be interesting if we can figure this out. So yeah, okay, now the parts that irked me last night. So first, the chaos. The chaos was I could not resist fully bringing in BrickR into the app before the demo, because I had a lot of spaghetti code from like tweaking Ryan's previous scripts. It was kind of difficult to debug. My organization of the modules was not my typical standard. And I wanted to use some of these newer BS4 Dash features, like the maximizing, like the hiding of tab elements or the sidebar element menus. That was something I tried to hack around years ago and could never get it done, but now it's natively supported, which is huge for me. So I had to upgrade everything. And Tan knows this. We were actually talking about this, I think, last week. David made a huge revamp in the API of BS4 Dash going to version 2. And yeah, there was about 4 or 5 major functions that absolutely broke, so I had to troubleshoot all that. I knew once I figured it out, it would be okay, but it was painful. But I don't have to do it again. I'm going to keep this at version 2, unless he does a major enhancement again that I can't resist. I'm happy where that's at. The parts I want to make better. On top of having the in-app docs that we have here available on the button, I really like the idea of having tooltips here that you could hover over and get another like little description of the input. Maybe this app doesn't need it as much, but that's something I am asked to do quite a bit for apps I make at work, because sometimes I think I describe something well in the label, but they still question it. So I want to just have some more, helpful information. And the package I want to use for that is by another, what I call good R and shiny friend in the community, John Kuhn, or JP Kuhn. He's made a package called Tippy that lets you use tippy.js to do these little tooltips in your app. Tried it last night. Failed. Failed pretty hard. I tried it with one input first, and I knew if it didn't work in one input, I was not going to figure it out that late at night. So that, scratch that. The other one I want to do is have an interactive guide of the app. What I mean by that is that something that kind of gives the user a guided tour of the app to kind of show how all the inputs work and kind of where things are, what's the general idea. For that, I want to implement, I'm probably not going to say it right, the Cicerone package? JP, if you're listening in the VOD, I'm sorry. You're going to have to give me a pronunciation guide later. But this gives you a guided tour of your app using what's called DriverJS, another JavaScript framework. Let me see if there's an example on the JavaScript site. Yeah, something like this, where you highlight the regions of the app, and then you can kind of step through things, go next, go back. This really helps people, especially if you have a complex app, to kind of demystify that overwhelming feeling of seeing like all these inputs on the screen and giving them kind of that opinionated look at how you expect them to navigate through it. I looked at the docs around it. I think it's doable, but it's going to be a little bit of trickery to deal with modules. Some of these JavaScript frameworks, you have to treat a little differently within modules. Some are very supported, like out of the box. Some you just kind of have to trick it a little bit. And I think this is going to be one I have to trick a little bit. But I do think it's a more attainable, perhaps, than even the little tooltip one. So I'm probably going to tackle this one first. But I was bugged that I couldn't get that in last night, because that would have been a nice little UX feather in my cap to show that this morning. But yeah, like I said, the refactoring and the RMV issues, and yeah, it was just a lot of little chaos late at night. And that is definitely something I'm glad I did not live stream, because it was painful. Okay. So we can look at my GitHub repo. I did actually set up a project for this. The road to V1, even though I have technically called this latest release V1. These are all things that we actually talked about, or some of the things we talked about last week. And the only other one I have fulfilled, actually, is this one here. There is mechanism to let the user submit feedback to the GitHub repo through the app itself. What I mean by that is there's a little feedback form, and you can just put in the title of the issue, choose a category. I just have bugger enhancement, add the description. It is markdown syntax, and you hit submit, and it's going to use the GH package that wraps the GitHub API to send the issue under my account's behalf. So it'll look like it will come from me, but there will be a label added called from app. And I have a toy repo that shows this, like one of my debugging things from 2 nights ago about this. Let me find it here. It's basically an empty repo, but it's just for the issue tracker. So here, let's look at this issue, test issue. You can see that it says it has a title that was in markdown syntax. Oh no, that's the subject of it, if you will. And then I just put this, but then it automatically put this text of like filed from shinyLEGO version whatever on the date. And it's got the label, enhancements, and from app. So that was all done through the API. So that was cool. It's kind of some of the stuff I was looking at the other week with Shiny Cow. But just issue submitting is a lot easier than the PR stuff, but that will be something I get to probably next week, is to right that wrong of that hour and a half I wasted with that use this solution when I should have just done the GH package from the start. I just, you know, we live and learn. So going back to this, if I can get all these ironed out, I'll feel from a UX perspective we're in a better spot. But that definitely doesn't hit the main things. Actually, we do have this one done. We do have this. I'm going to close this because I did this via the PR literally late last night. Let's... I mean, technically it was merging the dev branch, so... Closed. Yep, that one's out of here. I always like closing issues. It makes me feel like I actually did some. Alright. This is the big one. Oh, wow. Okay, so how long have I been working on this? March of 2019. Yes. Okay, yeah, Unicorn Coder, I haven't forgotten about your feedback about the font. I'm actually going to show you what I tried with that, and you'll see how I did not go with it. But I am definitely on where you're going with that. Yeah, so Ryan was very interested in this when I found the issue. I don't... Oh, I do have a gist of it. I'm not going to run the gist, but this is what I try to do. So if you go to that GitHub repo and look at that issue, you can always try it out yourself. But this is where Jacqueline did get back to me and was giving me feedback. First, she couldn't get it to work. But I noticed that, and to Tan's point about the performance of like RGL or WebGL stuff, it took me quite a while to get the example 3D image to render because it's consuming a lot of memory and CPU. So maybe those JavaScript frameworks, the 3JS that you shared, Tan, might be what we have to pivot to eventually. But I am definitely not a 3D graphics expert. I just like playing games with 3D graphics. I have the chops to make it myself, and maybe down the road I could level up on that. So yeah, that's kind of the state of the issues at the moment. So that is a big ticket item. So yeah, now getting to a unicorn mention about maybe some tweaks of the font. Let's get to VS Code and let's dive into this, shall we? Wait, first, before I do that, I need to make a small tweak off screen. Let me do that quick. Alright, bear with me, I have to find this. Okay, I think you'll like it when you see the product of it. Okay, let me get the VS Code here. Alright, nothing broke, good. I have brand new hardware, by the way. I mentioned not just the earbuds, but also my switching thing, so we'll maybe hear more about that later. Let's see. So, what I tried to put in the app are a few new fonts. I found them online. This is stuff I tried this morning. Like, it was about 9:30 or 10 when I kind of started my prep for the webinar. And I was actually doing a tech check with Brian. And I joked that, yeah, it seems like everything's working from the sharing screen stuff. I'm going to go back to plugging away. He's like, oh yeah, you're nothing like making updates to apps before a live demo. And I said, yeah, I like to live dangerously because I had everything in a Git branch. So if the branch absolutely destroyed everything, I could just go back to the previous working branch and still have my demo intact. So, okay. So inst app, where did I shove the fonts in? Right here. I found two fonts, one called Lego Bricks and one called Lego Thick. Lego Thick was the one that came up quite a bit in these searches. Lego Bricks was made by just a normal user out there that wanted to do it for a fun project with their kids. And that's the one I tried first, so I'll show you how I tried to put that in the app. And it works in the app, but you'll see what I think of it when I get to the code here. Alright, so this gets shoved into app UI via just basically in Golem, in any Shiny app for that matter, you do like a tag list in your UI settings, and then you can declare your dependencies. Like if you did like shinyJS, you would do something like use shinyJS. Here I'm trying out those Tippy and Cicerone packages. And then here's where I reference the CSS of the fonts. And I can show you those real quick. They're nothing fancy here. It's just basically declaring the font family and the source URL. Yeah, well, this wasn't something that can be imported via Google Fonts, so I did end up just writing it out because this was the only way I got it to work for that that racing dashboard app I did for the Shiny contest this year that uses the game's custom font. One of my racers that I compete with, who's also a very techie person, he somehow extracted the font from the game and then sent me the batch of files. So I wrote it out back then, and I was like, okay, that's the only way I know how to do this. I'm going to write it out now and put it in. But let's say I re-enable using this for the body, this Lego bricks. And let's see what it looks like. All right, let's run dev. Where's run dev? Right here. All right, check it out. And this is what it looks like. Not exactly readable, and you notice what it did. The capital letters are not only inconsistent, where we have the two looks like a Lego person. The lowercase don't look that much lower than the capital letters, so I did one look at this and I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna work. Not a chance. And likewise, let's stop this and let's try the other one. That would be, let's see, what was it called? I need to look at my CSS for the other one, what I actually named it. Lego thick. Wait, what did I do here? Oh gosh, I didn't. Okay. Rats, I didn't name it right. I gotta figure out. Yeah, I reused the name. You're right. I was a copy-paste mess there. But I need to see in my system what this font actually does look like. Like what I have a struggle with. Yeah, that's true. Maybe I can just comment that out and it'll just magically work, even though I have the wrong name of it. Let's see. Alright, let's try that. No, it's still the bad one. So I don't know which one this is now. I have to fix it. Let me get a folder open. I need the. Yeah, it's colliding, and I know how to fix it. I just got to find the right name of it. Shiny Dev Series Project, shinyLEGO. I have to like open the font file on my computer so I can see what the actual name is. Fonts, Lego thick. Alright, it's just called Lego thick. Okay, let's see. Oops, wrong. Lego thick. You think Lego thick only has up? Yeah, you may be right. You may be right. Let's just see what happens though. And then we'll go to the CSS and change it here. All right. Let's see what happens. Oh. Boy, they are colliding, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, okay, so it is a little different. The lowercase is different, but the uppercase is just like the other one. So it's not a collision. They did change a little bit. But there's no way I can really use this in the app. Yeah, okay, maybe so. Yeah, maybe they only do the uppercase. So, not quite, but to Unicorn Coder's point, even if like for the title of the app somewhere at the top, if we had that typical Lego kind of representation, I would be down for that. Just a matter of building it. So points to Unicorn Coder for showing or noticing what was happening when I was starting to edit stuff. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, what the heck is going on here? It is exploding. So one of my friends on the Linux streams I watch was just casually doing a dev stream updating a Linux package, and he uses VS Code just like I do. And lo and behold, I see that when he's typing stuff, I see this crazy looking explosion, and I'm like, what? Everybody in the chat's like, are you, what? How, why? And it's, get this, a VS Code extension. Let me show you what that is, in case you're curious. I'll put it in the chat too. Go to my VS Code mess of tabs here. It's called Power Mode, a ridiculously over-the-top extension that basically gives you all these cool little animated GIFs as you type that out. So it could probably get annoying after a while, but hey, if you're a VS Code user, you're interested, there it is. You can even tweak the different types of explosions you do. So I was doing particle, you can do fireworks, flames, magic, and yes, even Clippy. Clippy is here. Good grief, they even resurrected Clippy. I will not use Clippy. I have too many scars from Clippy from the old days of Windows. So if you learned nothing else useful for me tonight, you learned about the Power Mode extension. Okay. So, back to VS Code. So we know we're not going to do anything with the font tonight, since we didn't really get that to where we wanted. Just limitations of the fonts themselves. We can comment this out. I'll still keep as placeholders here just in case. Oh gosh, don't even scare me like that. If GitHub Copilot threw Clippy in my face every time, I would turn that off faster, and you can say Microsoft Excel. Good grief. Okay. So what do we want to work on? I think I do want to work on that tour thing. I think that's intriguing, and that's a skill I do need to master for some apps at work, because my big, massive, humongous app really needs it, because I passed it on to a colleague and said, you know, hey, we got in-app documentation. It works just like what I just showed you with shinyLEGO with that button at the top. The same thing with the app at work. But they don't even click it. They're just like, there's a lot of tabs here. Can you train me? And of course, I am going to have to sit down with them eventually. I mean, on top of the app being my my specialty, one of my specialties in the statistics research, I also have to consult with those statisticians on how to actually implement the methodology and kind of the practical iterations to get to the decision they need. So I know I have to be involved anyway, but I was trying to make it as easy as possible for me not to have to be involved right away when they're just exploring the app. So apparently I failed there. Okay, interesting ideas. Will this tour have an image of one brick for step 1, another brick for step 2? Maybe? Right now I'm just thinking it's just the tour of like the UI elements, but apparently the sky's the limit, and apparently John has built in customization you can do in these tour elements via JavaScript. So who knows, I might have to think about that a bit. So let's learn about Cicerone, who knows if I'm pronouncing that right. And I'll show you the part that gave me a little pause this morning, and then where I kind of gave up after an initial look. So let's forget Tippy for now. This is, where is it? Okay. I always look at issue trackers first. With any HTML widget that is integrated with Shiny, I always look for anybody that's had trouble with modules before I get into it, because I've been there down that road. The other package that kind of does this, that's older, called RIntro.js, initially did not have support for modules, but then the author via either feedback from me or from someone else, did plug in module support for that widget. I don't know if it's being actively maintained anymore. It may be just stable, but I'm not sure if he's actively developing on it. So I want to go with Cicerone because admittedly I am a bit biased towards the work that John does in the Shiny community. And he's always been very upfront and able to fix issues quicker than I can imagine. So I figure let's give this a shot, and if I do run into a problem that can't be solved, I will file an issue and we'll see what happens. So they were talking about like how do you use the namespace in the full app. Now what was talked about before is that in the mod server, the module server code, that's where you start initializing the Cicerone R6 object, which is what kind of is used behind the scenes to talk to the rest of the app as the user steps through things and navigates through it. But then I remember John did say it's not ideal, but he'll rework it eventually. But when using modules, it's easier to find the guide within the module, then use the namespace. Which may actually work well for me if all I'm going to do is do these guides in each tab of the app separately. So it might be good enough here. Maybe I would just go that route. So let's get working on it. I'll have this in the background on my other screen as I do this, because I have not done anything with this package before. Okay. So it's always good to have the help of the package. Let me clear the cache and reinitialize it. Cicerone. Okay. So that didn't really get me where I wanted. Oh, okay. So this is the... Yeah, so this is... Okay, this is the R6 implementation. Boy, that's another reason I gotta learn R6 soon, is that all these packages I keep using, especially in the Shiny space, are using some of this under the hood, and really want to get better with that. So maybe what we do first is we do what the advice had in the issue tracker. Let's initialize it in the module, and then we'll kind of go from there. So the module I want, let's get rid of the other stuff. Lots of extra files here. I always forget I like to move the run dev over here. That way it's out of my way. Okay, so the module we want to start with is probably that create one. Oh, wait a minute. This one oh, okay. Confession time. I did not organize this app the way I want in the first part, where I kind of had mini modules all called within the app UI. It's a little busy, but then for the instructions one, I had just a nice dedicated module to it. So maybe I do the instructions one, that'll be easier. Oh, Tan has a suggestion for the CSS. Let me see if I can get that into my app, or that CSS file. I'll at least put it in there. I may not actually run it yet, but I'll at least put it in there for Lego Brick. Okay. Okay. Yeah, other than I'll just change the spacing here, but I think it's gonna gonna work. Oh, so this is Lego thick. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Yeah. Ah. I may just get rid of Lego bricks altogether. It's really not useful to me. Get the... There it is. Okay. Okay, let's clean that up a bit for the spacing. Oh, I see what you did. Okay, so for each of the headers, we do Lego thick and we transform it to uppercase. Interesting. Okay, okay. You know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's just see what happens. I'm curious now. That was Lego thick. We're gonna wipe out Lego bricks. No need for that anymore. Now, since I sourced this here, I don't need to do this. We've already taken care of that, I believe. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's give it a shot. I don't feel that did anything, or maybe it... No, that's the same font. No, it could have been me screwing it up, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I'm sure it's a trivial thing. I don't think I have to do it here, because it should have. The only thing I can think of is that you had this lowercase. Let's try uppercase and see. It's the only thing I can think of right now. Trivial, but maybe that is case sensitive like Linux is. Well, let me check, make sure yeah, I definitely saved it. It's here, legothick.css. Oh, wait, I have to do it here too. Let's see. I don't know yet, let's just give it a shot. Otherwise we'll just move on. I'm sure this is somehow work out. Yeah, it's still not quite there. I know it's not a VS Code thing, because we saw the ugly font work in this when we did the default one. That's okay. Well, who knows? This is one of the things I want to learn more about, is like getting more comfortable with the CSS tweaks on the fly. Otherwise, I'm always like looking up websites or relying on Tan to save me every time to get the CSS going. And I did get the CSS going for that hotshot racing thing, so I know it's possible. But yeah, we have more important things to work on right now. So let's go back to the module for the instruction set, because that's nice and self-contained, I believe. Although if I nested modules, that might be a problem. Let's see what I did here. No, I didn't. Okay, I got slider input and a step hold placeholder. Yeah, so even if I just get it for the slider input, I'll be just to prove it works. That would be good enough right now. Well, that makes me feel better, Axel. If the CSS is still a bit of a struggle, you've been in the web game much longer than I have, so yeah, I still feel like it's like that extra bit that if I can master, or at least get competent enough with it, I'll be in much better shape to meet some esoteric requests that I often get. When for some reason, some customers just don't like the pretty apps I make. Yeah. Alright, so need to get Cicerone in here. I'm just going to start copying some bits here. I need to import the package here. Then we will try putting this in the server side, like I recommend. I just load it here, so I have in my namespace. Data value. Oh goodness, what is that about? Oh, okay, so that's the input name in their UI from the example. So what we want is name of slider input, which should be this. Oh, what am I doing? I'm not using my favorite trick, am I? You know my favorite trick is in VS Code. We split it right, move it here. So I'm gonna have the UI on one side and the server side on the other. Okay. Let's initialize this step. Now I need a trigger for it. So that's interesting. They in the example I'll show you, they put the start of it in the server side, like the main server side. I don't know if that's what I really want to do or not. Oh, they did the NS here. Uh-oh. I did not do that in mine. So maybe it doesn't have to be so complicated. Maybe I'll just comment one bit out. Okay. Save that there. All right. Now there was another issue. Yeah, this is the one that yeah, this is the more up-to-date issue. Yeah, each module has its separate. Launch after module is called. Okay. Well, I don't want it to launch. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe I do. Let's give it a shot. Well, thanks, Tan. I know I'm kind of wiped as well, so I won't be on much longer, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Go to app server. Now they put it after the call to that module, which would be right here. And that's because the guide object is in the mod instruction. So if you put it before it, it'll probably have a, whoops, wrong. All right, sorry, I'll go back to VS Code here. It'll be in the wrong place, so. All right. I'd be really interested if this works on the first try. I highly doubt it. No. That seemed magical. It's saying the object guide did not found. Yeah, I'm trying to... Oh. I missed some. They initialized the guide thing in the app code before the actual other stuff. So does that mean I need it? I think I need it in the server function at the top. All right. Okay, well, we didn't get errors this time. Let's try it out. Yeah, thanks, Unicorn Coder. I will try to keep away, although my upstairs sunroom is literally covered with Legos in the floor, so I have to wear hard slippers or shoes, otherwise my feet are destroyed. Have a good night. Thanks for coming. No, I don't think that did anything, did it? Yeah. That didn't quite get the job done. Okay. Probably need to read more about how the package works. I don't want to execute this on app startup. I want to execute it on a button press. One would think. Yeah, everything basically does it on startup. That's not what I really want. This is harder than I thought. Let's see if that miss here? Create the guide, edit steps and individual modules, and initialize the guide after. So that's the key, is where does this go? Where does that go? I may have stumped. I just don't know how to do this in a app with modules and a golemized app. I'm sure there's a way, but the issue is where does this go? It needs to be somewhere that when the app is executed, it's there. But I just don't know where. Perhaps it just goes here somewhere? Yeah, I think I'm overthinking it. Yeah, it probably just goes right here. Oh, hold on. Not do it there. Let's do it in the run dev script. Nope. But maybe to diagnose this. Hey, Cedar Prince, how you doing? I've cornered myself into a debugging rabbit hole here, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get out. Trying something really slick with shiny right now. I thought I did. Let me double check, Tan. That's always a good... Yep, got it right here in the tag list, so it should be there. And we know this tag list is working because we got the CSS stuff in there, so it should be getting the assets in, but that's always a good catch. Well, usually what Golem does is it tells you to put those things in Golem add external resources, because then it's show you up here. They run it right here, so it's just basically running a function to put it in. Oh yeah, Daniel is doing some streaming. I forgot about that. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for dropping by. I had in my opinion, a pretty successful webinar, even though I was only on it for about 10 minutes or so. It was good to talk about shiny UX with some really smart people. Yeah, I know, and it's Golem as well, of course. So I've put myself in a real bind here, but I do know who to talk to. The key is, can I get a reproducible example that's not as complex as shinyLEGO that demonstrates the behavior? Just cooking up a very silly Golem app after I verify that it would work in a normal app. That's the key. So that's probably for another time until I get the reproducible example up. I'm not gonna do that much longer. So let me see, what did I change? I don't want to commit all the nonsense that I just did. Let me close all the junk here. Yeah, we're gonna undo a lot of that since I did not get to where I wanted. Yeah, don't save. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that as well. So let's revert. Discard. Yep, get rid of that. This one definitely had some stuff. We want that. Want that. Want that. Yeah, everything else we want. Okay. Let's just commit some more stuff here. But what branch am I on? I'm on dev. I need to check out a new branch. I'm terrible with branch names too. Okay, so now let's... Let's make sure no shenanigans of RM, but then I'm gonna call it a night. Yep, okay. Okay. I think then I will just leave that as it is, and I'll take a look at the issue tracker one more time and see what else I want to think about for maybe next time. We do have this solved. I need to close that. And notes for future me. All right, what issue was that? Okay, got a note there. It does remind me of that. One more issue before I get out of here. Okay, I think that's a good place to leave it at. All right. Anything else? That's probably about it. I'm a little sleepy after a long day today, and I've got more stuff coming up this week. I've got to record a late episode of the Hard Weekly Highlights that I didn't have a chance to record yet, and I will likely be recording an interview for the dev series, not live, of course, but recording an interview on Friday with a very talented consultant in the Shiny community. So, as always, thanks for those that stuck around for my little bit of a messy troubleshooting there, trying to get that Cicerone package working, but definitely going to try and make shinyLEGO a lot better as we go along and generate some cool tricks and ideas from it down the road. So if you want to catch up on things you've missed perhaps in the past, you can look at our YouTube channel. Just search for Shiny Developer Series and you'll find it. And of course, reach out on Twitter if you want to get a hold of me. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And I do have a lot of other fun ideas in store for maybe future topics. All right, well, I'm going to close up shop here. I hope you all have a great night. I'm not sure if I'll be on this tomorrow. It's going to be probably a busy day, but certainly I'll be back next week for sure if I'm not back tomorrow. So, y'all have an awesome night, and we'll see you next time. So, bye for now.